Hello, dear friends, and welcome to ALLATRA TV Ireland. And my name is Elena, and my co-host today is Alina. And this is Creative Society Project, a global project of international public movement ALLATRA, where volunteers from all over the world conducting social surveys and interviewing people to get to know how do they envision society where everyone is happy. And finally, I can introduce our special guest, Deborah Curtis. She's a senior yoga teacher and trainer with Yoga Alliance Professionals UK. Deborah has over 17 years of experience teaching hatha yoga. And she is also a founder of Wild Vibrant Yogi and Women's Awakening Guide. Deborah helps people live more purposeful and fulfilling lives. Hi, it's so great to see you.
Hi, ladies. Hey. Thanks for having me. Thank you for allowing me to come and share the joy.
Really great to see you, Deborah. Thank you for joining. We are super excited to have you here on our live conversation. Could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself? Maybe share with us what inspired you to become a yoga teacher?
Wow, it's like such a long journey, but I'll see if I can squeeze it into a very short amount of time. You know, when I was young, I had this kind of like wild, vibrant energy running through me. And, you know, I kind of didn't know what to do with it. I was kind of quite a restless child and used to love climbing trees and, you know, spending more time with boys because I felt them to be so much more primal than girls at the time, and just kind of had this like real energy that I wanted to express, but had no idea at the time what it was about or how to express it. And as I got older, I got very inspired by the whole rave scene in England back in the early 90s. There was a big movement around dance music and people coming together and being fully self-expressed on the land in England. You know, it was quite a big thing back then. And this was one way that I found I could really kind of like channel my energy into something. And it was kind of really the first time that I got present to that I really wanted to make a difference out there in the world. But even then, I wasn't quite sure what that was. And not too long after that, a good friend of mine had come back from India, and he was like, Deb, you must do yoga. Like it's the answer to what you've been searching for. And so I took like a beginner's course. It was very slow, very much different from my style of yoga. And I'm not even sure how I managed to do such a slow yoga class, but it spoke to me. It kind of like, you know, it really filled the void. There was something that I just couldn't put my finger on, and it was kind of like the answer to that. So I decided to go off on a quest to find my teacher and traveled across South America, and then finally arrived in Miami. This was in the early 2000s. And I'd met this guy on the street, and I was like, is there anywhere that does yoga? And he told me about this little place called Synergy on just up on Ocean Drive, a little kind of little back street. And I remember walking up to Synergy, and it had a big door. And it was like I kind of knocked on the door like this little scared person, you know, what awaits? And this door opened, and Gaia, who was my teacher, a beautiful, beautiful Jamaican woman, welcomed me in. And just it was home for me. I could be fully self-expressed. I could be wild. I could be angry. I could be loved. I could be confused. I could be all of these expressions and not judged and just really held. And I'd only practiced for 3 months. And one of the teachers said to me, Deborah, you must do the yoga teacher training. It will transform your life. And I remember thinking, she knows nothing about me. I was such a bad girl when I was younger. And, you know, the fear, but I knew I had to do something. Like I knew this was the torch being passed to me. and so I said yes. And how I made the money to do the teacher training, that's a whole other fun story. But, it was just after 9/11, and I spent 5 months with 22 people, just transforming my life in so many different ways, and flew out of there with a passion to teach yoga and spread it across the world. And that was really how it began.
Wow.
Yeah, passionate, right?
And it was, I believe that 17 years ago, it was quite different, Deborah, and now it is a long journey already. So how did you transform yourself, and what was the key to this transformation?
Well, back then I was young and didn't have so many responsibilities. So after I took the teacher training, I just had this thirst. And then I did another teacher training, and then I brought a van and decided to travel around the USA for 2 years. I went up into the mountains, into the ashrams. I went and trained with, some of the greatest teachers that were in the US at the time. And it was just kind of like this thirst for more, but every time, like the lotus flower in yoga, like the iconic symbol, the petals began to open, and I would give myself permission to look a little bit deeper. And then kind of after that journey come more self-inquiry as I moved into kind of life coaching and personal development, more not from a spiritual perspective, but more from a power of communication, more from working with the mind. And then kind of, and I think as that developed, the final kind of piece of the puzzle for me was looking at shamanism, where I kind of felt like I'd done so much work on my body with yoga, so much work within the mind and the power of communication with my personal development. And it was finally, okay, well, the missing piece of the puzzle is now working on a soul level. Like how can we transform the soul? Or how can I bring my soul into harmony with what I'm up to? So that was kind of like the final bit of the puzzle. And I think, back then it was, I didn't even realize back then that Synergy was the first yoga studio on South Beach. I mean, it's insane now when you think about how many yoga studios there are in the US and across the planet. It's like, if we swapped a yoga studio for a Costa or a Starbucks, that would be amazing. And I just got that, it keeps me coming back to, how can I make a difference in the world by training one yoga teacher at a time? Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question there, but yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing. And it's so amazing to meet people who really love what they do. It's so great. And we prepared a small surprise for you, Deborah. I'm going to ask our technical support to show us the collage of Deborah's pictures. Can you see them?
Oh, wow.
Maybe you comment on these pictures and tell us what was that?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, I'm really moved. That's like, yeah, look at that. That was me, right? I've been up to some stuff. Wow. So, the picture in the top left and the kind of bottom right was kind of back in the day, early doors yoga. And that would have been, it wasn't at Synergy, but I met those yoga teachers through Synergy. And that was us just kind of, wow, look how radiant we all are. So that was us just kind of getting together, kind of learning about the business of yoga and how we can kind of put our message out there. The one with the ghetto blaster, the tape cassette player, that's me at Burning Man. back in 2011, I believe. And that day I'd just gone out there on my own, just out in the middle of the desert, just to have some time with myself. And the next minute there's like music and it's like, woohoo! And and the other one I know it's just shifted off was me in Egypt last year. And it's just like, I love wherever I go now, just to do a warrior pose. That's like my thing, you know?
Wow, Deborah, and it was very interesting to hear that you mentioned that your journey is kind of your way to make this world better.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, you know, bringing my journey into my trainings, and when my yoga teacher trainings have become women-based. That wasn't my intention, but that's how it's unfolded. But, you know, when someone's they come and they do the teacher training with me, and to see their transformation, and also the same as a yoga class. You know, when a student comes in, they're stressed out, they've been working all day, their body doesn't feel good, you know, they're multitasking, they're concerned about finances, they come in and they're like this, you know, their face is sad, their shoulders are up, and it's like they go through a 75-minute or a 90-minute yoga class, which is just for them, like pure self-indulgence, just love time. And at the end of class, you know, the face is lit up, there's a sense of peace, there's a sense of bliss, there's inspiration. And it's just like, to me, it's, you know, in 75 minutes, it's a no-brainer. Like, why would I not want to share that? And then for me to be able to teach others, to be able to hold that sacred space for other people, it's just, you know, you just drop that little, you know, ladies, you drop that little pebble. And the waves of transformation, you never know how many people you affect by just teaching one yoga class.
Absolutely.
So in essence, is it that you say that when visiting yoga class and finding this inner balance on yoga mats, then you can kind of take this inner state of peace and harmony and then carry it through your day?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You know, and I know that when my students leave my class, they're going home, and I predominantly have women in the class. You know, we're trying to break through with the guys in the UK at the moment, but I know she goes home, she's going to be a better parent that evening or that day. She's going to be more loving to her husband. And I actually give my students homework. I'm like, you know, go out on a date night with your husband. Go home and run him a bath this evening. Yeah, so it's that. But it's also, you know, the personal transformation that they go through themselves on the mat. And it can have an impact in all areas of their life. You know, and on my teacher trainings, I quite often say in the small print, I don't put it in the small print, but, you know, I find that women end up leaving their jobs. So they may leave their husbands if they're unsatisfied in a relationship. They really get to create themselves by their passion and their purpose. And I think a yoga class is like a kind of like a little nugget of juice of that.
Oh, Deborah, I recall saying popular in the UK, happy wife, happy life.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then who knows what's possible when the wife's happy, right? Or the mother, or the sister.
Absolutely, yeah, that's how it works. And Deborah, as you are working mostly with women, and I'm pretty sure they are very different, as usually, actually, every person is unique and special in his or her way. But what is that common thing uniting them? And what does it mean for you to be a woman? Is it how she represents herself? Or is it just her social role in society? Or it is something more that what comes from within. How do you understand?
Well, I'm glad you've asked me that question. Now I feel like I'm an empowered woman, because if you'd have asked me when I was 10 years old, I would have went, ugh, girls are boring and, and they're really bitchy and they're into competition and all of that. So it's strange that I grew up with that view, and now I'm actually, even though I love working with men and the masculine energy, it just seems like, spirit has brought me all of these women to work with. And I think what I've noticed, particularly over the last kind of 6 years with me putting my energy into my teacher trainings, being with women, that, there's a real sisterhood, and there's a real need for women to connect with each other in a way where we uplift each other, that we support each other, and that we nurture each other. And at the same time, we kind of don't let each other get away with stuff, So and I kind of, the Dalai Lama speaks of the world being saved or transformed by the Western woman. And it's been a real joy to watch, to see this sisterhood growing. And, I'm a real believer of bring out your strength, bring out your fearlessness, and hold each other to account at the same time. If I say, actually, I'm going to go and climb Mount Everest, and I say that to my girlfriends, you hold me to account on that, and don't let me get away with anything. So it's really about that, that support, but in a real powerful sense. And for me, as a woman, I feel developing my intuition. For me, my intuition, I feel, resonates in my belly. I know for other women, it resonates in their heart. And just to listen to that, and just to get really present to, we are so wise. We have so much wisdom. I mean, as a woman, our bodies follow the moon of the cycle of the moon. I mean, it's like, how profound is that? And just to take time to tune in to that goddess or that inner warrioress, and listen and trust from that space, really. For me, and honoring our cycles as a woman, honoring the menstrual cycles, honoring the menopause, honoring, it's so is forgotten and such a taboo subject in society that we don't even talk about it. But it's no, we are here to talk about it and share and learn. But intuition, ladies, for me right now, developing that listening and learning, it's like gold dust for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. And when I subscribed to your Facebook group, I paid my attention to one thing, that you call ladies who are in your community sisters.
Yes.
And I think it is so heartwarming, because first, it feels like you are with your family, and second, it removes the competitive aspect, which is really great, because I believe women are so powerful when they're united, and not only women, actually.
Sure.
Of course, yeah. And if we imagine for a moment that all people on Earth live as one big family, what kind of world would it be? Can you please share your vision of creative society and describe the society where you, your family, your friends, and everyone would live happily? What is perfect society for you?
It's quite a big thing to envisage, isn't it? It's like the program mind goes, oh, what would that be like? And, so tapping into kind of the wild imagination. Maybe rather than me kind of speaking, I just feel like I'm going to do this for a moment. I'm going to move the chair out the way. And I think it would be a little bit like, woo!
Bravo! Bravo!
That's how you feel it.
Yeah.
It's like feel creative society.
Yes, feel it, be it. It's an expression of being, and if you're feeling and being it, then creative society is here. It's possible. It's living and breathing.
Yeah, it's already here in our hearts. That's right.
Deborah, and I also want to show you foundations and stages for building creative society. They are on the website ALLATRAUnites.com, and technical support could help us and show it on the screen. So they say that human life is the highest value. And second is that every human is born with the right to be a human being. And the third is that no one and nothing in society has the right to create threats to the life and freedom of a human. And also, we need transparency and openness of information for all, to have creative ideology. And development of personality also should be key in this society where everyone is happy. The seventh basis is justice and equality, and also self-governing society. So what touches you most of all, and what would you like to discuss or give your opinion about?
So it feels like for me, the one that's popping out the most really that speaks is development of personality. Okay.
What does it mean for you in your vision? And in ALLATRA Unites website, it says that every person in the creative society has the right to comprehensive development and personal fulfillment. And education should be free and equal and accessible to all. What do you think about that?
Wow. I posted a post on my women's group recently, which was a story about a South African tribe, and it moved me so much. And it was about that, when the woman decided that she wanted to have a child, she would go and sit by a tree and she would listen for this song, and it would be the song of her child, of her spirit that wanted to come in. And then with her mate, they would make love and she would sing the song. And whilst she was pregnant, she would continue to sing the song to the baby. And all of the family and all of the villagers would sing the song. And so when the baby was born, the song was sung. And throughout rites of passage and times through that child's life as the child began to grow. And also, which I really loved, that when that child became a young man or a young woman, if they did anything that was kind of against the tribe or anything that was kind of deemed wrong, rather than being punished, the villagers would gather around and sing the song to this person so that the person got to see that they were loved, they were held, they were cared for, and they would be able to see, the way that they were being. And I feel like with a focus on bringing children into this world, and also with a focus on the transition of when we leave this world, there's so much fear around death. And I watched the Ram Dass movie recently, and Ram Dass had asked his guru, what is it like to die? There's so much fear around death. And his guru said, why, it's like taking off a tight shoe. And so with focus on coming in and focus on transitioning out, I think everything else in the middle, just like finding your purpose and your passion, I think for me, that's it, you know, the two focuses. And I think everything else will just like take care of itself in a really beautiful, harmonious way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely agree. For me, development is also not just some academical knowledge, but also it's about the ability to feel and to live a good life. I think we all have to learn how to live best life as we can.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Deborah. And we would like to ask you, who would you like to meet and have a talk about creative society in our next broadcasts? It could be somebody you know, maybe somebody who inspired you in your life.
So I would love Moses Love, my good friend, my brother, my teacher, and yeah, he lives in Miami. He's an awesome yogi, and a couple of years ago took his big school bus, turned it into a veggie bus with his dog and a raw foodist, and they traveled all across the States in the green veggie bus, just spreading the word of God and love. And so Moses Love, this one's for you.
Wow, interesting. We will try to reach him, and we want to also remind our viewers that the project we are doing now is run by volunteers, and every person who is interested to contribute to society in this way can visit ALLATRA Unite's website and click join us. And next time, maybe you will be co-host, or maybe you will be a reporter. And maybe you want to be a guest and tell your vision of creative society and express your ideas and feelings. So please join us. It's a big fun, and I can tell personally that thanks to this project today, I was happy to see a fantastic person and get this experience and get so much inspiration. So thank you, Deborah, for joining us.
Thank you, ladies. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love and light.
Maybe you would like to wish something to our viewers.
Pardon?
What would you like to wish to our viewers?
Oh, you know what? Just flipping go for it. Like, life is so precious. Just go for it. Like, just go wild and go for it with full love and self-expression.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for inspiration. Thank you for being with us. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
I will do. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, friends.
Bye.